You don't belong. The three words slice through the gentle hum of the coffee shop. They are not shouted. They are spoken with a quiet, chilling certainty. They hang in the air, thick and ugly, over the scent of roasted espresso beans and steamed milk. Julian Vance does not flinch. He stands at the counter, a simple gray hoodie pulled over his head, his hands resting calmly on the polished wood. He looks at the man who spoke them. The manager, Mark. His name tag is pristine, pinned perfectly to his crisp, company-issued apron. Mark's smile is thin, a weaponized sliver of contempt. He gestures vaguely toward the door. I think you have the wrong place. There's a diner a few blocks down. Probably more your speed. Julian tilts his head slightly. A gesture of curiosity, not confrontation. He keeps his voice level, almost clinical. Could you clarify what you mean by my speed? The manager scoffs, a small, sharp sound. He leans forward, lowering his voice into a conspiratorial hiss. Look, pal, we cultivate a certain clientele here, a certain atmosphere. You're disrupting it. Julian glances around the cafe. It is one of the 312 locations of Aura Coffee across the country. Sunlight streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating polished concrete floors and minimalist oak furniture. Young professionals type on laptops. Friends laugh over cappuccinos. The atmosphere is exactly as he designed it to be, open, welcoming, and bright. He sees no disruption, only himself. A black man in a hoodie, waiting to order a coffee. I haven't said a word until now, Julian states. It is a simple fact. How am I disrupting anything? Your presence, Mark says, his eyes narrowing. It's making people uncomfortable. Julian's gaze sweeps the room again, slower this time. No one is looking at him. No one seems to care. Except for one person. A young barista behind the counter, a woman named Chloe according to her tag, looks horrified. Her hands tremble as she wipes down an already spotless steel surface. She avoids his eyes, and she avoids her manager's. He recognizes her fear. It is the silence of someone who needs their job. Someone who knows what they are witnessing is wrong, but feels powerless to stop it. He has seen it before. It is why he is here. For weeks, anonymous tips had trickled into the corporate head office. Vague reports of mistreatment at the downtown flagship store. Notes about a manager with an attitude, about a hostile work environment. The complaints were always just shy of providing concrete proof. So Julian decided to see for himself. He calls it a ground-level audit. He sheds the tailored suit of the chief executive officer, puts on the clothes he wore in college, and becomes just another customer. He wants to see the real company, the one that exists when the boss is not watching. He is seeing it now. I would like to order a large black coffee, Julian says, his voice unchanged. Calm. Precise. Mark laughs. It is not a pleasant sound. I don't think so. We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone. And I'm refusing you. On what grounds? Julian asks. He is not angry. Not yet. The anger is a cold, coiled thing deep inside him, waiting. Right now, he is collecting data. He is documenting. Loitering. Mark says, the word landing with a triumphant thud. You've been standing here, casing the joint. I've been in line for 5 minutes, Julian counters. And at the counter for less than 2. Is that the company definition of loitering? The manager's face flushes a blotchy red. He is not used to being questioned. He is used to compliance, to people wilting under his dismissive glare. Julian is not wilting. Get out, Mark snarls, his facade of civility cracking. Or I'll have security escort you out. I'd like to see the written company policy that justifies this, Julian insists. He knows the policy by heart. He wrote the first draft himself 10 years ago in his garage, back when Aura Coffee was just a dream and a single, sputtering espresso machine. The core principle was simple. A cup of coffee is a moment of peace. Everyone deserves that peace. Mark leans closer, his voice dropping again. He uses a slur, low and venomous, meant only for Julian to hear. A word designed to strip away his humanity, to reduce him to a caricature. That is when the cold coil of anger inside Julian tightens. It is the breaking point. Not the insult itself. He has heard worse. It is the casual cruelty of it. The certainty in Mark's eyes that he can do this, that he can say this, and face no consequences. That the system is built to protect him, not the man he is insulting. Behind Mark, the young barista, Chloe, flinches. A tiny, almost imperceptible movement. But Julian sees it. Her eyes dart toward the small, domed security camera in the ceiling. A flicker of hope. A plea. She is the moral witness. The person who knows this is wrong. Julian gives a slow, deliberate nod. He is no longer just a customer. He is a chief executive officer protecting his employee, his customers, and the very soul of his company. You want me to leave, Julian says, his voice now carrying a new weight. An edge of steel. Fine. But you and I are going to have a conversation first. In your office. Mark smirks, believing he has won. There's nothing to talk about. There is, Julian assures him. We are going to discuss your future. Or your lack of 1 inch. The sheer audacity of the statement throws Mark off. He hesitates. He sees the unwavering confidence in Julian's eyes and mistakes it for foolishness. He decides to humor him, to complete the humiliation in the privacy of the back room. Fine, Mark sneers. Let's go. I'll even call my boss, the district manager, so she can hear you make a fool of yourself. Excellent, Julian says. I insist. Mark leads him through a swinging door marked Employees Only. The calm, airy aesthetic of the cafe gives way to a cramped, cluttered hallway. In the small, windowless office, Mark gestures to a single rickety chair before sinking into his own worn leather one. He picks up the phone, a predator enjoying the final moments of the hunt. He dials, a smug look on his face. He puts the call on speaker. Karen, it's Mark, he begins, his voice oozing false concern. Sorry to bother you, but I have a situation here. A transient who became aggressive. I've got him in my office. He's making threats, demanding to speak to you. I think we need to have him removed by police. A woman's voice, tired and annoyed, crackles through the speaker. Mark, I don't have time for this. Just call security and get rid of him. Follow protocol. I will, Karen, Mark says, his eyes locked on Julian. I just wanted you to be aware. He's delusional. Thinks he's somebody important. Julian is not moved. He has not spoken. He waits for the perfect moment. He lets the silence stretch, lets Mark's arrogance fill the small room until it is suffocating. Then, he leans forward slightly. He speaks. His voice is calm, clear, and resonant with an authority that cuts through the static. Karen, it's Julian Vance. Silence. On the other end of the line, the annoyed sigh of District Manager Karen Scott dies in her throat. There is a sharp intake of breath, a rustling sound, as if she has suddenly sat bolt upright in her chair. Mark's smirk freezes on his face. It looks grotesque, a mask of confidence that has begun to melt. His eyes dart from the phone to Julian, confusion warring with a dawning, sickening horror. He does not recognize the name, but he recognizes the immediate, seismic shift in his boss's tone. Mr. Vance. Karen's voice is a strangled whisper. It is stripped of all its previous irritation, replaced by pure, unadulterated panic. Sir? Is this some kind of joke? I'm not laughing, Karen, Julian says, his voice like ice. I am in the manager's office at your downtown flagship location, and I have just been racially profiled, refused service, insulted, and threatened by your store manager, Mark. Each word is a hammer blow. Mark's face has gone pale, the color draining away to a pasty, sickly gray. His mouth hangs open slightly. He looks at Julian, truly looks at him for the first time, and sees not a threat, but a ghost. The ghost of his career. Mark. Karen's voice shrieks from the speakerphone, sharp and terrified. What did you do? What did you do? Mark cannot answer. He just shakes his head, a pathetic, silent denial. Karen. Julian continues, his tone leaving no room for argument. I need you to listen very carefully. Do not hang up this phone. I want you to contact Elena Reyes, our chief operating officer. Tell her there is a code 0 situation at your location. Tell her to get here immediately. Do you understand? Yes, sir, Karen stammers. Right away, sir. Mr. Vance. I am so sorry. I had no idea. Your ignorance is part of the problem, Julian says, cutting her off. Now make the call. He looks at Mark, whose entire body is trembling. The bully has vanished. In his place is a small, frightened man. Before Elena arrives, Julian says, I want to speak with one of your employees. Chloe, the barista. Please ask her to step in here. Mark looks like he might refuse, but a single glance from Julian sends him scurrying out of the office. A moment later, Chloe appears in the doorway. She looks terrified, her eyes wide. She thinks she is in trouble. Please, come in, Julian says gently. Close the door. You are not in any trouble. She shuffles in, wringing her hands in her apron. Chloe, Julian says, his voice softening. My name is Julian Vance. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Aura Coffee. Her eyes widen further. She looks from him to the sputtering phone on the desk, and understanding dawns. I need you to tell me the truth, Julian continues. What you witnessed today? Is this the first time you have seen your manager treat a customer this way? Chloe hesitates. She glances at the door, her fear of Mark still potent. You have my word, Julian says, meeting her gaze. You will be protected. Your honesty right now is more valuable to this company than anything else. That is all it takes. The dam of her fear breaks, and the words spill out. She talks about Mark's constant, casual racism, the way he belittles employees of color, the jokes he tells when he thinks no one important is listening, the customers he has driven away with his sneering contempt. She describes a pattern of behavior, a rot that has festered under the negligent watch of the district manager, Karen, who always dismissed complaints as personality conflicts. As she speaks, Julian listens. He does not interrupt. He simply nods, his expression grim. Every word she says confirms his worst fears. This is not a single incident. It is a systemic failure. 20 minutes later, the office door opens. A woman in a sharp business suit stands there, her face a mask of controlled fury. This is Elena Reyes, the COO. She is flanked by two serious-looking individuals from corporate security. Elena's eyes find Julian's. Julian, I came as soon as I heard. Thank you for being so prompt, Elena, he says, standing. Her gaze then shifts to Mark, who seems to shrink under its intensity. Mr. Mark, she says, her voice dangerously quiet. Your employment with Aura Coffee is terminated, effective immediately. Security will escort you from the premises. You will return your keys and all company property. Your final paycheck will be mailed to you. It is swift, brutal, efficient. Mark opens his mouth to protest, to beg. Please. It was a misunderstanding. No, Julian says, his voice cutting through the excuse. It was not. It was a choice. You chose to judge a man based on the color of his skin and the clothes he wore. You chose to betray the trust of this company. You chose to create an environment of fear and hostility. There are no misunderstandings here. Only consequences. Security steps forward, and Mark, defeated, allows himself to be led away without another word. His reign is over. Elena then turns her attention to the speakerphone, where Karen has been listening in terrified silence. Karen, Elena says, her voice cold as steel. You are suspended, pending a full and independent investigation into your management of this district. Your system access is revoked. Do not contact any employees. Someone from Human Resources will be in touch. The line clicks dead. The office is quiet. Elena turns to Chloe, her expression softening. Thank you for your courage, Mississippi. It takes integrity to speak up. I couldn't let it happen, Chloe whispers. Julian steps forward. Chloe, what you did today was not just brave, it was an act of leadership. You upheld our company's values when your manager discarded them. We need people like you, he pauses. Effective immediately, you are the acting manager of this store. We'll provide you with all the training and support you need. And I am personally appointing you to a new, company-wide advisory council on employee and community relations. We need your voice. Chloe stares at him, tears welling in her eyes. It is a moment of profound, life-altering shock. Disbelief gives way to a radiant, watery smile. Thank you, she manages to say. Thank you. Julian then addresses the entire staff, who have been gathered in the main cafe area. He stands before them not as a CEO in a suit, but as the man in the hoodie they saw humiliated just an hour before. He apologizes. He apologizes for the failure of leadership that allowed a man like Mark to have power. He apologizes for a system that silenced their concerns. He does not make excuses. He makes promises. He promises a complete overhaul of the HR reporting system. He promises a new, zero-tolerance policy for discrimination of any kind, with clear, immediate consequences. He promises better training, better support, and better leaders. He promises that the name Aura Coffee will stand for respect for everyone. In the days that follow, Julian is a whirlwind of action. He does not delegate the cleanup. He leads it. The independent investigation into Karen's district reveals a dozen other complaints against Mark that she buried. She is terminated. The investigation widens, uncovering other pockets of toxicity, other managers who were allowed to fail upwards. More changes are made. Julian sits with the board of directors. He doesn't just present a report. He tells them the story. He makes them feel the sting of Mark's words, the chill of his contempt. He secures a multi-million-dollar budget to create a new division of the company focused solely on corporate culture, equity, and inclusion. He hires one of the nation's leading experts to run it. A month later, Julian walks back into the downtown flagship store. The atmosphere is different. It is lighter. The tension is gone. Chloe is behind the counter, not as a barista, but as the manager, confidently directing her team. She moves with a newfound purpose. The staff smiles, a genuine warmth that was absent before. She sees Julian and her face breaks into a wide, welcoming grin. "Mr. Vance, welcome back. Can I get you your usual?" "Julian, please," he says, smiling back. "And yes, a large black coffee would be great." He pays for his coffee and finds a small table by the window. He watches the customers come and go. People of all ages, all races, all backgrounds. They are laughing, talking, working. They are finding a moment of peace. The company is not perfect. The work is not done, but a change has begun. It started with 3 ugly words. It started with a quiet, calm refusal to accept injustice. It started with one person choosing to see another, not as a stereotype, but as a human being deserving of respect. Julian sips his coffee. It tastes like victory. It tastes like hope. It tastes like a new beginning. He looks out the window at the bustling city, at the endless stream of people living their lives. He knows that building a business is about more than just profit margins and expansion plans. It is about building a community. And today, his community feels a little safer, a little kinder, and a whole lot stronger. The work continues.